Hi, everyone. If this is the second Tuesday of the month, then we're back with another edition of ARP Massachusetts Fraud Talk Tuesdays. We're here the second Tuesday of each month from 12 to 12:30 to discuss a different scam and how you can protect yourself and your family from becoming victimized. My name is Pat Burrows. I'm a volunteer with ARP Massachusetts, and our guest today is Sam Doknovich, also a volunteer with ARP Massachusetts Speakers Bureau. You may have joined us today with questions already in mind. If you have them, please put them in the Q&A at the bottom of the screen, or if questions come up during the presentation, you can put them there also. The session is being recorded, and you will receive a copy of this recording to share with family and friends. At the end of the presentation, we will share a page with links to several resources, which will also be sent to you. Today, we're going to talk about two tech-related scams, QR codes and artificial intelligence, also referred to as AI. So Sam, let's start with QR codes. What are they?
Great question, Pat. So let's start at the beginning. QR code stands for Quick Response Code. It's a type of two-dimensional matrix barcode. A QR code is an array of black and white squares or pixels set in a grid that stores information for a machine to read. A smartphone or a camera can quickly access the information contained in the QR code's specific arrangements of pixels, making it a convenient way to store data and a much faster way to access websites rather than typing in a long URL or cutting and pasting it from another site. When a smartphone camera reads a QR code, it will open the website associated with the QR code using a browser. As companies and government offices look for ways to save on paper and labor costs, we are finding more and more QR codes on leaflets, signs, ads, TV screens for ads and commercials, menus, parking garage signs, pay for parking meters, and many other places. Our challenge is to determine if the QR code is going to take you to a legitimate website or to a website that is part of a scam. That's why the FBI has issued warnings and offered tips for how to scan the popular QR code black and white squares safely. The FBI warns that cyber criminals have tampered with QR codes to steal consumers' login credentials, confidential financial information, and at the end, their money. Crooks are altering both digital and physical QR codes and replacing them with malicious code. The threat is real and growing daily.
So when scammers modify the QR codes, what are they looking to do, Sam?
Scammer modifications can allow access to your mobile device, which reveals your location first, and then gives them access to all of your personal and financial data. You should use caution if you're trying to make a payment using a QR code, since criminals will try to redirect your funds into their accounts and you're not going to know about it. Recently, I experienced a QR code scam. My wife and I were visiting the Edward Hopper Museum in Nyack, New York, on our way to a family party in New Jersey. For those of you who don't know, Edward Hopper is a famous American building and landscape painter, and the museum is definitely worth a look if you're in Nyack area at all. It's right over the Tappan Zee Bridge. We'll call it the Tap, even though it has a new name. We were in a rush to find a parking space, and you can get that word rush, which raises your emotions, to get into the museum before it closed. All the parking lots and parking meters required you to pay online. No more putting quarters into meters, accessing their site by using the QR code on the parking meter. The label and QR code on our street parking meter looked okay at first glance. Of course, I was in a rush, so I didn't look at detail. When I scanned it with my iPhone, it took me to a site that at first looked legitimate, but as I clicked to pay, another screen came up that said I would be charged $50 a month for subscribing to their entertainment site. I knew then that it was a scam. I closed the website, found another parking meter in a city parking lot that worked properly. Just to be safe, I called my credit card company, who canceled my card and reissued a new one. I didn't lose any money, thankfully, and now have a heightened awareness and evaluate every QR code before I scan them with my phone. So here's some practical advice from the FBI to help you avoid QR code scams. First, don't download an app from a QR code. Instead, use your phone app store to get the right app. Number two, do not download a QR code scanner app. Most phones have a built-in scanner in their camera. You don't need another app. It's just a scam to get you to download malicious code. If you recently bought something and you received an email saying that the payment failed and are asked to complete the payment by using a QR code in the email, call the company first to verify this. Locate the company's phone number from a trusted site, not the phone number given in the email. Number 4, if you believe your funds have been stolen by using an altered and fraudulent QR code, contact your local FBI field office and also file a report with the FBI at IC3.gov, which stands for Internet Crime Complaint Center. IC3.gov.
I think these warnings and tips are important because I've been seeing more QR codes everywhere. In fact, I went to a training session recently and we were asked to scan a QR code with our smartphone to complete the session evaluation.
Now, you're absolutely right. QR codes seem to be everywhere. They grew increasingly common during the pandemic as coronavirus fears triggered a demand for touchless transactions. You didn't even want to have to, take your credit card out and stick it in a reader, because then you would have to touch the reader. You can show a QR code on your smartphone screen to board an airplane, or enter a sporting event, or use your phone's camera to scan a code to learn what's on a restaurant menu or when the next bus is due. Because QR codes are being used in a lot of new and different ways, they are a natural target for cyber criminals. Cyber criminals always want to use new technology before people get used to it and before they start being less trustworthy of it. QR codes also appear in direct mail ads and at retail outlets. I bet when you recently walked through a pharmacy aisle lately, you may have noticed QR codes on packaging for a range of consumer products from baby food to over-the-counter pain relievers. You scan the code while you're in the store to visit a company's website. You get more information about a product and perhaps even score a coupon or discount. But danger can lurk behind these QR codes. While many of these machine-readable optical labels are trustworthy, some can be downright dangerous. If you fall victim to a crook lurking behind a fraudulent QR code, you may in fact need that extra strength pain relief medication that you were looking for.
Technology makes our lives so much easier, but I guess that also offers scammer new avenues to take advantage of us. What should we keep in mind before we scan a QR code?
Well, you're absolutely right, Pat. Scammers are everywhere, always looking for ways to use new technology for their own criminal uses and ready to pounce on unaware consumers. I guess scammers don't really care about us. They only care about them. And I don't know how they sleep well at night, but they do seem to sleep well because there's more and more scammers. Here are 7 things to keep in mind before scanning a QR code. Number 1, fraudsters have used QR codes for years. These codes came on the scene over 27 years ago when Japanese automakers used them to track parts and inventory. In fact, I got a new car last year, and the paperwork under the back seat was their build list, and everything was a QR code on their build list. Whenever a new technology comes out, cyber criminals look for ways to manipulate it before people become familiar with the scam and how to minimize their risk. Unfortunately, but realistically, criminals have been targeting QR codes pretty much from when they were first originally put out. Number 2, when looking at a QR code, remember these lessons from Cybersecurity 101. Just as you should never click on suspicious hyperlinks or download fishy attachments, especially anything sent by strangers, you should also avoid suspicious QR codes, which can take you to weird websites or sites that are created to look safe but are nothing but trouble. At worst, a crook can download malware to your device or direct you to a fraudulent website to try to steal your money, grab your personal and financial data or your login credentials, and wreak havoc. Your online financial accounts, peer-to-peer payment contacts on apps such as Cash App, Zelle, or Venmo, social media accounts, and photos are among the things that could be compromised. Number 3, criminals have been known to distribute flyers with malicious QR codes or to attach stickers with fraudulent codes over existing legitimate ones in public spaces such as bus stops and parking meters, as I personally discovered and related to you earlier in this webinar. Criminals can put a fake parking ticket on your windshield with a QR code to scan to submit the parking fine. When you scan it, malicious software called malware gets installed on your device to access your personal information and just about everything that is on that device.
I guess that is all the more reason to keep virus protection software on all our devices, including our smartphones, up to date. But what else should we know about QR codes?
Yeah, so let's continue with our list of 7 tips. We're now up to number 4. Before I got to keep that finger down. Do not trust a QR code that was supposedly emailed by a friend. Your friend's account may have been hacked. Call your friend and ask them if they sent it to you. Watch out for QR codes that appear in a text, an online post, or emails. Instead, use a browser and visit a website using the organization's domain name that you know is legitimate. Number 5, avoid using a QR code to pay a bill. There are many other payment methods that are less susceptible to fraud. Number 6, QR codes may seem harmless. Your naked eye can't detect what the codes are programmed to do. You can't read those pixels and all those little lines. So trust your gut. If you are in a restaurant and the code is stuck to the side of a napkin dispenser and looks suspicious, don't use it. Ask for a menu. And lastly, number 7, consider adding protection that checks for malicious or inappropriate content on your mobile devices. QR codes can come in handy and make it easier to do business, but you must increase your vigilance and not take them for granted. The bottom line is that QR codes can be created quickly and easily, but like other tech tools, they can also be hijacked by fraudsters. Tell you, after my experience with that parking meter in Nyack, New York, I almost never scan a QR code until I can really verify that it's legitimate and it's not going to put me at risk.
I know this is a real eye opener. I'm thinking about all the QR codes that I've
Mhm.
scanned in the
Mhm.
past. And with so many tech tools out there, can you also talk about the ever evolving artificial intelligence or AI? I know it's a pretty encompassing topic, but maybe we could first define AI.
Sure, so let's start with some basics. Probably everyone on this webinar sends text messages. And if you send a text message with your phone when you are already using AI, or sending an email, as you type, up pops the next potential word in the message you are typing. AI uses an advanced system that combines rules, patterns, and artificial intelligence techniques like machine learning and natural language processing to improve your writing. One writing application I see advertised is Grammarly, but there are others out there. So what is AI? Artificial intelligence involves using computers to do things that traditionally required human intelligence and interaction. AI is the science of making machines that can think like humans. AI can enable machines to do things that are considered smart. Why? Because AI technology can process huge amounts of data, trillions of bits of data, in ways that humans can't, and at speeds that far exceed what our one brain can do. The goal for AI, which is a program, is to be able to accomplish things such as recognizing patterns and making decisions and judgments just like humans do. To do this, AI apps need to have analyzed lots of data and have the right algorithms incorporated in them to produce machine learning that simulates human learning. A great example is cancer detection. How can a computer detect cancer? Well, because a computer can digest billions of X-ray images, MRI images, and those images will say, this is what cancer looks like. And then because they've digested so many images, they can then apply that to analyzing other images and coming up with a verdict of whether a human should take a look at it. AI technology is at the foundation of some things, such as image recognition and classification. It's also changing how we make decisions. For example, it can be used to analyze and predict traffic patterns in real time and change the timing of traffic light systems accordingly. This is a use of AI that I hope gets implemented very quickly. Probably everyone on this webinar has been very frustrated when you're on a street and we have routes. I live in Massachusetts, and we have these long routes, and there's nobody on the road because it's 11 o'clock at night, but you're sitting there at a red light. Why can't somebody see that, meaning AI, and then turn the light green?
Exactly. AI seems like a pretty awesome tool, but what are some of the scams that we need to watch out for when it comes to AI?
Well, we know that scammers never sleep. Here are the top 3 areas for AI scams. Clone voices of loved ones, which are what's called deep fake photos or videos, and number 3, real looking personalized emails. First, let's talk about voice cloning. If a scammer can get as little as 10 seconds of somebody's voice, they can create an entire conversation that sounds just like that person. So where do they get the voice to copy? From social media applications such as Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. People are always posting videos with voice, and they can steal that sound clip and use it to mimic, to voice clone your voice very easily. Voice cloning has been used in the grandparent scam, or more broadly in the relative or friend in distress scam. They have the opportunity, they meaning the scammers using AI, have the opportunity to impersonate anyone. Your grandchild, a police officer, a political, sports, or entertainment figure, or even your spouse. One of the best prevention techniques you can use is choosing a safe word for your family. Share it only with family members or others in your inner circle in person. Never text or email your safe word to prevent it from being captured by scammers. If somebody calls claiming to be a grandchild, for example, you can ask for the safe word or words. If they don't know the safe word, you know it's a scam. We just implemented this in my family. Now, let me tell you what my safe word is, so you'll see how unique it is. Ha ha ha. You thought you would fool me, but I didn't do that. Keep that safe word secret and don't text it or put it in an email. But make it a word that's easy for people to remember, but not something so obvious that a scammer can guess it. Voice cloning chatbot software is out there for you to download. But beware, it's probably worth playing around with a chatbot to get a sense of the technology's potential, and it's kind of fun. But cyber criminals are advertising AI tools on social media and search engines with links that will download malware onto your computer if you click on them, according to a new warning from the Federal Trade Commission. Some are fake sites, but some ads actually take you to the real software and download the malware through a backdoor built into the real software by the scammers. This makes it hard to know that you got hacked. You think you're doing everything right. Criminals could then steal your information and sell it to other hackers on the dark web, or get access to your online accounts and scam others.
Downloading that software is probably not something I do, but I bet a lot of younger people may want to try it. We encourage you to share this information with them as well. But what are these deep fake photos you mentioned?
Well, this is like Photoshop on steroids. Using AI, a scammer can take a video, a photo, other information from your social media profile and other websites, and use AI to create a realistic photo, what is called a deep fake photo, for their fraudulent scam scheme. Deep fake photos have been digitally manipulated to replace one person's likeness with that of another. These schemes usually revolve around extortion or sextortion. To protect yourself, be careful what you post online. Also, check your privacy settings on your social media accounts so that only your friends can see your posts, not everybody. The third example of an AI scam is a variation on phishing scams where you receive a fake email that looks like it came from a real company and it tricks you into giving away personal information. By using these new AI chatbots, scammers can make emails look almost flawless with excellent grammar, punctuation, and content. No more do we get these scamming emails where the grammar doesn't make any sense and things are misspelled and they're using terms inappropriate. These emails will look almost flawless. The message that you get then comes with a spoofed logo and an email address to trick you into thinking you can trust the message. Usually the message is urgent and asks for sensitive information or for you to click on a link. Remember, the urgency in the email tries to trigger your emotions to act now, just like I clicked on that QR code because we were late. We wanted to get into the museum to give us enough time to see the exhibit, and I was ready and I was in a rush. That's the worst time to make a decision. As a safeguard, call the company at a trusted phone number and do not open or reply or click any links. The CEO of Iron Scales, a company that helps organizations protect against social engineering and email phishing scams, is concerned that eventually criminals will be able to use a multi-pronged strategy to perpetrate their scams, including voice cloning, AI-generated emails, and deepfake photos or videos. He offered this frightening scenario. It's frightening to me, and I bet it will be frightening to you. Your boss emails you with a request, then leaves you a voicemail saying, "Hey, did you get my email? It's very urgent. I really need you to do that." And at some point, you will even get a Zoom call where you will see a video and you will totally believe that you were speaking with your boss. I mean, you got an email from him or her, a phone call, and then a Zoom invite where you saw their face. You're going to totally believe that you were speaking with your boss, seeing their face and their facial expressions. This kind of multimedia approach is what I'm most scared of. Boy, that multi-pronged scenario sounds terrifying to me.
Yeah, this is all really interesting. I recently got an email from Global Entry and foolishly clicked on the link because it said my card was expiring and the website looked like the official. And it wasn't until I ran and got my card to get the number off it to renew and saw that the card doesn't expire for another 4 years. And I'm usually very careful about that, but I was going on a trip. So this is how they, it's that I'm in a hurry and I've got to do this, that I was so glad I didn't put anything in there. But
No, I did a social security presentation at a local council on aging last night, and one of the people at my presentation brought me a letter that looked like it was an official letter from the Social Security Agency. It had all the government-looking stamps and everything on it, and it had a QR code to donate money. And she said, "What should I do with this?" I said, "Let me show you." And I ripped it up and threw it in the basket.
well, so any final thoughts before we go to questions, Sam?
Yes, final thoughts. Don't trust your caller ID. If you get a call from a business, hang up. That ID can be totally spoofed. Find their number and call them back directly. No matter what the pitch, anyone asking you to pay them with a gift card is a scammer, unless they're your children. They could be considered a scammer too. The next simple tip is very important and can save you from becoming a scam victim. Pause and think before you click. Never react and click on a link in an email or text message without confirming that it's from a legitimate source. Criminals can now craft extremely sophisticated looking messages, as we've discussed, as well as fake websites that convincingly mimic real ones. Call your grandchild who's in crisis. If you don't have a safe word and your supposed grandchild or child calls saying they've had a medical emergency or some other crisis, pause, take a breath, and call them on their phone, even if they just told you that it's broken or lost. Criminals try to rattle you to disrupt your rational thinking no matter what type of scam they're using. Chances are your real grandchild will pick up, bewildered by your concern, but unharmed and safe. As I mentioned before, don't click on ads to download software. The Federal Trade Commission says that if you see an ad for software that sparks your interest, rather than clicking on it, go to the website by typing in the address. If you do search for it, remember that scammers also place ads on search engines. Search engines will take money from scammers because they don't know they're scammers in order to allow them to place their ads. These ads appear at the top of the search results page and might have a label that says sponsored. Scroll past them to get to your search results. As with all scams, always verify, verify, verify before you react. Slow down, think it through, let your emotions rest, and then you'll make a much better decision.
Thanks, Sam, for this valuable information. It's information, awareness, and education that is our best defense to avoid scams. So let's check for questions before we share the resource slide. It looks like we have a few in here.
Yeah, a couple came in. One says, what about QR codes when you enter a museum and they want you to click on it to view the exhibits?
So what would I do? Well, first of all, I would verify with somebody at the museum that these are legitimate QR codes placed by the museum. I might take a docent or somebody from the museum to examine the first ones. And then I'd probably let the person next to me access that first one and see what happened. So again, I would slow down and think it through and try to do my best to verify it, and before I would use it.
Here's another question. What about restaurants that do not supply a menu and want you to use their QR codes?
Then I would ask the person working at the restaurant to bring me a fresh QR code page from the from their reception desk or the check-in desk, rather than trusting the one that might have been pasted on top of the napkin holder at my table. So get a fresh one from a secured source.
Somebody else had a question here. It says, will this information be issued online / written versus just spoken? We have this recording. We are recording this, and we will send it out to everybody, so you can share it with other folks in your circle of friends and relatives. And somebody else asks, says, thank you for this because it was rather eye-opening. And where is the next scam presentation? Let me share a screen with you for a minute. And let's go to here. And let's do slideshow. Hang on one second. Okay. At the very bottom of this, we do presentations, fraud presentations across the Commonwealth. If you click on this link here, you can submit a request to have, we will go anywhere. We'll go to churches, we'll go to senior centers, assisted livings, fraternal groups, wherever you are, we can be. So if you click on this link, you can, and we do a lot of different types of presentations. We do on decluttering, decluttering and downsizing, one on Social Security.
6 pillars of brain health, caregiving, home fit, to how to make your home safer for people, retirement planning. We have a AARP Speakers Bureau has a wide portfolio of presentations available for free to just about any organization.
So on the slide here, we also have some other places that you might want to check at some point. We oftentimes talk about freezing your credit if you think you've been victimized by a scam. So this will tell you, it's from AARP, and how, why, and when to check and freeze your credit. The identitytheft.gov will give you the list of the credit bureaus that you can contact. The AARP Fraud Watch Network has a variety of articles constantly updated to keep you informed on scams and frauds that are out there. You can also sign up to receive every other week a fraud watch alert, either via text or via email. And it's a great way of keeping in the forefront of your mind that fraud is always out there. Sam mentioned the FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center. Oftentimes we hear people say, well, should I report it? If you think you've been victimized by a scammer, it is important to report it. You can report it to ic3.gov. You can also report it to the Fraud Watch helpline at 877-908-3360. People say, well, sometimes I don't hear back. Sometimes you may not hear back, especially from government agencies. They collect this material, as does AARP, so that they can look ahead as to how they can put out information to protect people from becoming victimized of one scam or another. So we're going to send you this slide, and all these blue entries here are links that you can simply click on and go to those sites. I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay, and next month we'll focus on scams that specifically target your wallet, why scammers want your driver's license, and the 10 worst things to carry in your wallet. So join us on May 14th at 12 o'clock for that. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, if you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam.